Welcome back to the Sonic Boomers. I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
We recently got together with some friends who are also boomers like us. We're all within, what would you say, a year or two of each other?
Yeah.
And we all went to college together. And of course, when we baby boomers get together, what do we love to talk about?
Oh, the good old days.
Now, do you think that that is something that is germane just to baby boomers, or do you think younger generations do it or will do it too?
I don't think they necessarily do it now, but I think eventually they will do it because I think it's part of human nature to just look back and cherish the things that you remember, and it always seems better in hindsight.
And one of the things that we got to talking about was the things that we grew up with, that we had in our homes, that you don't see anymore. Okay, the first thing that came up, and this is in no particular order, was a laundry chute or a coal chute.
Now, a laundry chute would be really convenient because, like, if your washer is down in the basement,
Yeah, which ours is.
you could put your laundry in this. It was like a door in the wall, and you threw your laundry in and had a chute, and it would go right down into the basement. And
Doesn't help you getting
down
it
the
back
stairs.
upstairs.
Well, can't have everything.
Although I figure if you had a blower, if you had like a big blower,
Okay.
you could put it at the bottom of
Okay,
the chute.
MacGyver.
Send the stuff flying up the chute.
But anyway, it certainly would be convenient. You
It
don't
would
have
be
to
so
carry a
convenient.
laundry basket and navigate stairs and stuff. I would love to still have one
just
of those.
put the basket at the bottom of the chute. But you know what would have happened?
What?
Is our two older kids would have thrown their kid brother down the laundry chute.
Maybe.
You know, that would have happened.
Or if not him, then the cat. You
Yeah,
know?
the cat. Oh, let's send Spooky down the laundry chute or something. So you may or may not have had a laundry chute. We did not.
No, we didn't either. Now, a coal chute, I remember at my grandmother's house because her house was heated by coal
Yeah.
when I was very young. And I can remember the coal truck coming, and it was like a big dump truck loaded with coal, and it had a chute on it that connected into the window that connected to the chute that brought the coal into the house. And they would just like load the dump truck, dump it, and all the coal would come rolling down, and it would go into like a coal bin in the basement. And that's what they used to heat the homes. They would put the coal in the furnace, burn it, and ta-da, we got heat.
Now, I know that my mom had one of these.
What's that?
A Ringer washing machine. I think the earliest memory that I have is maybe 4. And I remember in the basement, my mom had the Ringer washing machine.
And my grandmother had one of those.
You never had it in your house?
We never had it in our house. As a matter of fact, quite often we would take our wash up to my grandmother's, and there would be wash day. And we would spend the entire day washing her stuff, washing our stuff. And we didn't have a dryer, so we would hang it out on the clothesline, and you had to wait, a couple hours maybe before the clothes dried and bring them in. And it was an all-day affair. But the Ringer thing, the Ringer on the washing machine, she had 2. The very first one operated with a crank. And then she got a more advanced model that was, I guess it was electric, and the Ringer rotated, and you just fed the clothes through it to wring them out.
I vaguely remember my mom's Ringer machine. I remember after that, she got a more modern washing machine. I think it was a Speed Queen or Filter Queen or something
Whatever,
like
yeah.
that. And I wrecked it
Oh, no.
because I was a very mischievous kid. Gee, what would happen if I did this kind of a kid? And somehow or other, I got the thing on fire.
Oh, my God.
It started, I don't know if I climbed in, opened the lid and was standing in there and the motor burned up. I remember the thing burning
Oh, my gosh.
and the fire department coming, and our neighbor
You're trouble.
in back of me came over to get me. And I have no idea what the hell I did to my mother's washing machine. But
You're a terror.
But I remember there was, washing machine gate.
Well, you know what was funny? When we got our first washing machine in my house, we had it in the kitchen, and we had never seen one really up close and personal before, because my grandmother always had the ringer one, and this was the newer version. We all sat around and watched it change cycles. But we were like, as kids,
Yeah.
and we were watching, and when the spin drying came on, it was so much fun.
I remember getting the new washing machine. Was a Kenmore. Don't ask me why I remember these things.
I don't know.
But it was a Kenmore, and I was not allowed to touch it.
I wouldn't let you near it either.
Now,
Although that's convenient, then you don't have to ever do your laundry.
Now, here's something. Floor furnaces and wall furnaces.
Okay.
Now, you and I had a floor furnace in our first house. There was no basement. There was a crawl space, and sunken in the crawl space was a furnace, which ran on natural gas. And it had a steel grate over it. And it was common to all of the rooms.
It was only like a 4-room house.
Yeah.
So.
And this was like in the middle. Well, it heated the house great. And it was cheap to run. But the problem was, one day we were getting ready to go to your mom's house for, I think, Thanksgiving.
It was, yeah.
Our oldest Sean was in the bathtub, and I'm giving him a bath. And I took him out of the bathtub, and I set him on the carpet, and the grate was right outside the door. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Sean, stay here. And I turned to get a towel to dry him off, and he ran out onto the gate and seared the bottoms of his feet.
Yes.
And we had to take him to the hospital, because as time went on, the feet were getting redder and blistering, and it was awful. So we drove him up to St. Barnabas Medical Center. You would think that we were like child abusers or something, because they took the two of us into separate rooms. And first they tried to ask young Sean what had happened. And if you looked at the bottom of his feet, they were like waffles.
Yeah, you could see the outline of the grate.
And they said to Maureen and I, how did this happen? And we're saying, well, we have a floor furnace. And, you have all these doctors who live in Short Hills, and they have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Right.
And they kept questioning us over and over and over about what is a floor furnace. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, do I have to draw a picture of it for you? Trying to explain. Knob and tube wiring. You hear about this all the time on the renovation shows, zombie shows, real estate shows, that if you've got old knob and tube wiring in your house, you got a problem.
Well, you have to, by law now,
it has
to come out.
If you have it, it's usually grandfathered in.
But if you're selling your house or something, no.
Coming out.
Yeah.
And knob and tube wiring was basically, you can see this on Google, it's all over the place. It was wires that were wrapped in cloth, and they were mounted on porcelain insulators that were nailed inside the wall or along a beam or something. So it was called knob and tube. But as they age, they dry out, the cloth dries out, and they become a really serious fire hazard.
Absolutely.
So, again, the house that I grew up in was built in the 1950s, so that was already a thing of the past.
Yeah. Now, the house I grew up in, I don't think it had any active knob and tube, but it probably originally did. I really don't know. I was a kid. I didn't concern myself with wiring and stuff, so I really don't know.
The house that we lived in before we came here was built in 1924. That had knob and tube. Okay, how about a dumbwaiter?
I've had lots of dumbwaiters. I can never get the order right.
Never get your order right.
No, I never had one of those, but that might be the solution for your laundry chute reversal, because the dumbwaiter was like a pulley operated, almost like an elevator kind of thing, that you could put something in on one floor and lower it or raise it.
You may or may not have had a dumbwaiter. Now, this I know we had.
Yeah.
Milk box.
We had a milk box, yes.
Some houses had a milk door.
Yeah, I had never seen that before, but in researching for this, we looked at some videos and stuff, and I think that was kind of interesting because it was a door that opened to the outside and the inside.
Right.
So your milkman would come and leave your milk, open up the door from the outside of the house and put it in this compartment, and then when you were ready, you could open up your side.
Yeah,
and
bring
the
in
milk,
the milk.
in, and you never have to go outside in
I
the cold.
thought that was really cool.
I think that's very ingenious, but I've never actually seen that. But we did have an actual box.
Yeah, we did too.
And you'd put your empty bottles there, and they would take the empties, and then they would leave full ones.
And you'd leave a note for the milkman. No milk today, or we're going on vacation this week.
Can we have an extra skim milk or chocolate milk or something? Yeah.
Do you remember the dairy that you had?
We had a couple of different ones. It started out as Becker's, and then it became Alderney, and then I think it became Tuscan.
Yeah, we had Borden's. I think the guy's name was Don. Stuff that I remember.
So, Pete, what did you have for breakfast today?
Don't know. Where's your car keys? Don't know. But I know who our milkman was in 1961. Wall-mounted music intercom systems.
Now, I've seen these on TV, but I've never had one.
There was a company called Newtone, and Newtone used to do accessories for homes. If you have an old fan in your kitchen wall,
like an exhaust fan,
if your house was built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, chances are that's a Newtone fan. I know in the houses in our development here, that was standard, was the Newtone fan. They also made doorbells. They made intercom systems where you could have speakers in every room of the house, and you could communicate. So you wouldn't have to yell across the house. You would just push the button if you were in the living room and I was in the bedroom, and you could say, Pete, come in here,
Yeah.
And also they had systems where you could take music,
Cool.
AM, FM radio. You could play tapes. Back in those days, we had tape recordings on reels, and you could put it on the tape player and broadcast music all over the house. I had family in Brooklyn, and there were 3 families living in there. We were all related, and the entire house was wired for sound.
Wow. Yeah, that's something I've only heard about. I've never experienced.
I thought it was so cool. And you can go anywhere in the house and hear the music playing anywhere or communicate. How about central vacuuming?
Now, again, I had heard the term, but I wasn't really sure what that was.
I didn't know about this until maybe 7th or 8th grade. They built a housing development here in Old Bridge called Lake Ridge. We went to a friend's house, and he was talking about central vacuuming. He was showing us around his house, and he goes, "Hey, look, this is called central vacuuming." And we're like, "Well, what is that?" And it was like, there's an opening in the wall.
Yeah.
And you would plug your hose, your vacuum cleaner attachment into that. And there was a big vacuum cleaner out in the garage. You just plug the hose into the wall, and there was one in every room of the house.
Okay.
So you didn't have to drag around
the
vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
It's called central vacuum. I'm sure that our listeners may have had this in their home, especially in the 60s, 70s, shag carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Or wall-to-wall carpeting.
Matter of fact, it's funny because now hardwood floors is the preferred
That's the thing.
But growing up, to have wall-to-wall carpet was like chic and rich.
Oh, yeah.
Only the rich people had wall. And I remember we had some area rugs, and we had one area rug that was big enough that it went just about wall-to-wall. It wasn't installed as wall-to-wall. It still was just laid down like an area rug. And we thought who we were because we had the illusion of wall-to-wall carpeting.
Yeah, we had wall-to-wall in the living room, in the dining room, the hallway, in my bedroom. And my mom and dad had big, like Oriental area rugs in their rooms. We had wall-to-wall done in most of the house. Yeah, my mom thought that was really hot stuff.
Well, it was in those days. That, like I said, that was a sign of wealth and a sign of having made it. Is you had wall-to-wall carpeting, especially if it was thick, and then in later years the shag.
I never liked the shag.
Oh, I did. I thought that was, if you sat on it and laid down on the floor watching
No,
TV.
it was a dirt collector.
I didn't think
It
about
would
dirt.
get matted.
Ours didn't. I mean, we vacuumed it frequently.
They used to sell a rake. You would rake.
We never
the,
raked
the
ours.
carpet.
We never raked ours. It didn't get that bad.
Because I remember your mom had it. I never liked it. I never liked it. Now, this next one, I just found out these are coming back.
Okay.
A conversation pit.
Yeah.
Some of you might know it as a sunken living room, where you had a pit, which was maybe 4 or 5 steps down in your living room, and then you would have seating, something that was conducive to having conversation,
Yeah,
hence the
yeah.
term conversation pit. You wouldn't have seen a television there. Television might have been relegated to the den or to the rec room or the rumpus room. This was just meant to encourage people to come into the pit, take a few steps down, and sit around and talk.
Yeah.
And I understand that is getting to be like the hot new thing.
I love the look of them.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the way it sets up for conversation. I just, at this stage of the game, the idea of having to climb up and down the steps to go sit in your living room
It would
doesn't
not be
appeal to
good
me.
for the people that come and visit us, because we're all septuagenarians, octogenarians, and it would be not
not a good look.
nonstop, people falling. I think that the concept of it was cool as hell,
yeah.
and it looks great.
I know when you see them on some of the TV shows, especially on like Mad Men and
Yes.
Perry Mason.
Perry Mason, Don Draper on Mad Men, I think, had the
I think he did
conversation
too.
pit.
Yeah.
Carpeting in the bathroom. In what world was this ever a good idea? Because you're coming out of the shower.
Yeah.
It's going to be wet. It's going to be mildewed. It's going to smell. I mean, obviously, you need a little rug when you're getting out of the tub, or you're going to fall and break your neck. But carpeting an entire bathroom, or as my mom did, sorry, Rose, she had a little carpet, a little rug that went around the base of the toilet.
Well, they used to sell them like sets.
Yeah.
They would have like
And the one that went on the lid.
the one on the lid. They'd have one around the base. Sometimes they had a toilet seat cover that was carpeted, and they would also have maybe the throw rug that, like you said, would go down by the tub, and they would sell like a coordinated set. And we had them, and we would replace them if they got yucky.
Terrible idea.
I mean, I wouldn't do it now, but at the time it wasn't so bad.
Terrible idea.
And we would just get rid of it after it got like yucky.
If you have men in the house, you are doomed. You are doomed. Because why? Well, come on. Do I have to draw you a map? We guys, sometimes we spray. And when you get to be a certain age, you spray even more. and it's terrible. It's really terrible. It smells. It stains. It's awful. It was never a good idea. Formica.
Okay. That was the new age material for countertops.
If
and
I
tables.
could have it in our house.
Oh, God.
Well, these houses, when they were built, they had a Formica countertop.
Yeah.
And a little Formica backsplash. Mm-hmm. And on the other wall of the kitchen, you had a snack bar.
Yeah.
And that was all Formica. And it all had chrome trim.
Yeah. Well, that's how they...
And you could get it in different colors.
and patterns
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's thin, it's cheap, it stained, you couldn't put something hot down on it. It wasn't good.
I remember our next door neighbors. They were the Morgans, was their name, Roland and Peggy. And I remember as a kid going to their house, and they had the Formica countertop next to the stove. And somebody apparently put something hot on it and burned it.
Yep.
And it looked awful. And little Peter had no filter.
I can just hear this now.
And I went,
What's that, Mommy?
hey, what did you do to your countertop? That looks awful. One of them told me that, well, yeah, we had a hot tea kettle or something and put it down and it...
You were such a brat.
And of course, I didn't perceive myself as brat. I was just an
course not.
opinionated
Son of a gun.
kid that had no filter. Ashtrays and lighters. Now, I'm sure that there are still homes that have these.
Well, I think everybody has a few.
If
in a
you have
drawer
people in
somewhere.
your, I mean, if you're a smoker, hey, have at it. You know, no judgment here. But if you are a smoker, I hope that you smoke outside your home. Because when I come to visit you, I don't want to smell your cigarettes when I come into your house. So if you're a smoker, hey, again, no judgment, but smoke outside. Smoke outside so your visitors don't have to come in and smell it. I remember growing up, and my mom and dad were both heavy smokers.
I think most of our parents were,
And
it was a thing.
we had ashtrays all over the damn house. And we had these old-fashioned ashtrays that were, they were on stands.
Yep.
And we had two of them in the living room. One of them was copper, and it had like a rim around it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hit it, it would ding, it would ring. And I always used to take a pencil and ding, 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 ding. You got to wonder why my mom and dad never forced a pillow over my face when I was sleeping as a kid, because they would have had reason to. Believe me, I drove those two people nuts, and I would ring that thing. So we had these two big ashtrays, and then we'd have the little trays around. And I thought it was disgusting. I always thought it was disgusting.
I never did. I thought it was part of the decor. Like you would have ones that matched your furniture. I know, like
They're okay if they're clean, but when they're full of ashes and cigarette butts, it's disgusting.
Well, ours didn't get full. I mean, when it got, at the end of the day, my mother would dump them, we'd wash them. I mean, it never got to the point of being like overflowing or anything. Do you remember ashtrays that had like a little mechanism on the top that you push the button and it
It would open up?
and the ashes would go in,
Yes.
and then it would snap shut.
Yes.
And that was on a stand as
I
well.
think one of the two that we had in the living room may have had that.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it spun, so like kind of centrifugal force took the ashes to the lower chamber.
Hopefully it did. It didn't send cigarette butts flying all over the room.
I don't think it was anything like that. Okay. But I do remember that pushing the button thing.
And of course, lighters.
Yeah.
Big honking cigarette lighters on the coffee table.
So they would have ones that were like meant for almost like display, like you would put them out, and it was like a decorative item that worked, of course.
My mom and dad had a spot in the front of the house. We had these evergreens right along the sidewalk where the carport was. And again, I thought this was so disgusting. They would throw all their cigarette butts there, hundreds of them. And my mother used to joke and say, well, maybe a cigarette tree will grow here. And I think my father thought it was good for the soil or something. I don't know if it is.
Yeah. I think tobacco, it was a bug repellent or something, but I wouldn't say that the butts were, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember my mom talking about the cigarette tree. All right, how about a bread box?
Yep. Yeah, we had, well, there's two kinds. There's the kind of bread box that came with your kitchen that was part of your cabinetry.
Right.
My Aunt Kay had that. You opened up the drawer, and there was a metal door,
yeah, I think
like
10.
sliding thing on top,
perforated,
and you slid that open. You put your bread products in there, slid it close the door. Out
That's
of
what
sight,
we
out
had.
of mind. Now that was hers, but what we always had was an actual bread box that sat on the counter, and my mom still had one up until the time she died. I mean, we always had a bread
I
box.
remember the bread box in your house. My mom's was built into the kitchen. All of the homes here in our development had the bread box built in. My parents never once used it as a bread box.
Really?
It was the junk drawer. And it was huge. It was a big, deep
It was deep,
drawer.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that was the junk drawer.
And that's why you have an aversion to junk drawers.
I don't like
today.
junk drawer. I have utility drawers. And
Yes, we know. We went through this.
been through this many times. Junk drawers I find abhorrent in a house. Magazine racks.
Yeah, I can remember, different styles of magazine racks.
We had
and-
my mom used to get Look magazine, I think, Photo Play, which was like a Hollywood
okay.
kind of a thing, and of course the ubiquitous TV Guide back in the day.
Yeah.
We'd throw them in the magazine rack. You don't see magazine racks in house. Well, you don't see magazines in
I was
houses.
going to say
Everything's online.
Everything's online. Yeah,
How about picture rails?
those are pretty. I never had them, but I've seen on some of the decorators shows, especially when they're doing a historic home, and the picture rail was like a strip of molding up nearer to the ceiling.
I think it was actually a rail, like a little railing
Well,
that went around the room, right?
but it
And you
was-
could
it was-
hang art on it.
You hung art from it, but it was like a molding kind of thing. It wasn't like a curtain rail.
The idea being that you didn't make holes in your walls,
right?
which I love, because Maureen can tell you I abhor the idea of nailing stuff on walls in the house. I do not like making holes in walls. Phone nook, or a phone table.
Now, a phone table, I remember my
Yeah.
grandmother had that because, back in those days you had one phone in the house, and hers was in the hallway as you entered the house. It was a little spot, and there was a table, and it had a chair, and next to it was like a little table, and the phone would sit on that, and there was a space underneath where you could store the phone book, and that's where you sat when you were on the phone.
In the house I grew up in, we had the snack bar, and the phone would be either on the wall, over the snack bar, or on the snack bar itself. But I know older homes had a little, sometimes it was a piece of furniture that you sat on with a cushion or something, and other times it was a little door or like a little alcove
Okay.
in the wall, and the phone would be in there. All right, we're coming down the home stretch. Big television sets that were furniture.
Yep.
And when I was growing up, it was black and white.
Of course.
13 channels or 12 channels. I'm sure every kitchen had a radio.
Probably.
Every kitchen had a radio.
Probably. I mean, I know we did. My mother would have it on in the morning when we were getting ready for school, and we would be listening to Rambling with Gambling.
Yep.
And Fred Feldman would be up in the
Fred
helicopter.
Feldman, who I later worked with.
Right. And
He hired
I
me.
was like starstruck when I met him.
Gave me
because
my
I-
first
I
job
grew
as a
up
traffic reporter.
I grew up listening to him, and when I actually got to visit him in his house, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this.
When I got on to WOR with the gamblings, your mother thought I finally made it. Okay, one last thing, and that is a formal parlor. We did not have one. We had a living room, and that's the term that they use,
Right.
For generations now. It's a living room. But my mother called it the parlor.
We use those terms in, to be both. I mean,
Actually, Paula, because she was from Brooklyn. I'm in the parlor here. Bring this into the parlor. But we had the TV in there. The original parlor was meant to show your finest furnishings, your collections, your fine china, your whatever.
Yeah.
But it was never
It was fancy, yeah.
never meant to be a place for a TV. Maybe a radio as time went on, and then television. But before radio and TV, it was just meant to be a very elegant sitting room or an area where you received your company.
Yes.
So parlor, living room,
Potato.
potato. Hey, we hope that you enjoyed this little baby boomer trip down memory lane. We talked about today all of the stuff that used to be in your home.
Right.
On the next show, we're going to be talking about the stuff that used to come to your home long before there was Amazon. Until then, I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm still Maureen Torriello.
Yes, you are. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to the Sonic Boomers Podcast.